And so in that position, you described it as being in a prison.
Commissioner, I work outside. I'm an outdoor person. You clock in through a checkpoint in the morning. You clock out at a checkpoint. There's no time. You cannot go out at a certain time. My only safe space was my coffee machine, and then they stole my coffee machine inside the DPCR. Sorry, I'm laughing about it. It's still so annoying. And I had to get polygraphed because of the theft of my own coffee machine.
Who asked you to be polygraphed for the theft of your own coffee machine?
General Senona. There were other exhibits, there were other items that were going missing in the environment, and again, I was seen as a suspect, and I had to go and get polygraphed for the theft of my own coffee machine.
Do you know if you passed?
I passed. I just want my coffee machine back.
Did you get it back?
No. No.
Okay.
It starts with coffee. Yes, coffee. Warrant Officer Karl Sander tells the Madlanga Commission his coffee machine was stolen. Then he says he was sent for a polygraph because of the theft of his own coffee machine. That sounds almost ridiculous. But this is where the hearing turns, because General Senona says, hold on, that is not the full story. According to Senona, this was not just one man, one coffee machine, and one unfair polygraph. He says there were other thefts. He says there were serious allegations. And he says Sander's version left out the bigger picture. So the question becomes simple. Was Sander treated unfairly? Or was Senona dealing with a serious internal police complaint? And when the commission checked the paperwork, did the story still stand up? Hello, I'm Andrew. Welcome to the Public Record. Here we follow hearings, documents, affidavits, court papers, media reports, and public interest evidence. We stay with what is on record, what was said, what was challenged, and what still needs an answer. Today, General Lesetja Senona at the Madlanga Commission. A coffee machine opened the door, but what came through that door was much bigger. A polygraph, a police transfer, a missing instruction, and a chain of command question the Commission would not let go.
I do not remember the exact date of this email. I have no recollection of subjecting the member to a polygraphic test relating to the theft of a coffee machine. I should not have to answer this allegation in this statement. I do so out of caution and attach the mails from Lieutenant General Lesetja because of the very real prospects that these questions may be directed at me, even though I have not received the requisite notices and additional documents from the Commission. Commissioners, I want to add that on these paragraphs, the placement of Warrant Officer Sanders, the complaint, it was very serious. I think the Commission has also this document, which they provided to us later, I think in the early hours of yesterday. They have this complaint whereby there was a serious allegations of Warrant Officer Sander and other members involved in the theft of cocaine at the harbor and selling it to a specific gang. I'm just worried to say names of other people that never came here, because the last time I was caused to say certain names, and I'm on litigation for your information, Commissioner, as we speak. Now, based on the allegations, they were of a serious nature that warranted that in that process, if my memory serves me well, Colonel Jacobs was the acting provincial commander. Brigadier Nusi was not there. The process that I followed, I called Colonel Jacobs to come with Warrant Officer Sander. I wrote a letter. I signed it. It was flagged here. I saw this is my signature, but it was redacted. I placed him at supply chain management until the investigation is finalized. It's a process that we do in the police. Like myself now, my supervisor has is an example I'm making. My supervisor has suspended me. He was placed as elsewhere. Mine is worse because evidence was given under oath before this commission, and I was suspended. So it is a process. When there are allegations against you that relate to what you are doing, you will be either placed elsewhere or suspended. He was never suspended, and he never lost any income. He got his full salary, his danger allowances, and the scarce skills allowance.
That is Senona changing the frame. He is not accepting the coffee machine version as the whole story. He says the complaint was serious. He says Sander was placed somewhere else while the matter was being dealt with. And he makes one thing very clear. Sander was not suspended. He kept his salary, he kept his allowances. That matters, because Sander's version sounds like punishment. Senona's version sounds like procedure. Same event, very different picture.
So the issue of the coffee machine, commissioners, in that office where he was placed, I don't remember him because I was watching the commission on that day. I don't remember him, I might be wrong, informing the commission that actually in that office there were 4 thefts. It is in the provincial office. Nobody will just come in there. A member of the public, even your good self, you will never come in. You will be escorted into the building if you are not working there. There was a theft of a camera of the state. There was a theft of a state laptop, which possesses sensitive information in that office. There was also a theft of a laminating machine. His coffee machine was the last one. The person who initiated and applied for these members that are employed in that supply chain management where this Sander was placed was initiated by Brigadier Nusi. I was out of office by then. The only thing I did is to sign the call-up instruction and say all these members must go for polygraph test because there was no break-in, but things are disappearing. And I believe that was done bona fide, not to punish any person, commissioners. So those are the issues that I wanted to address, although they are not in the regulation 10.6 or on the subpoena, just to give the commissioners a clear picture as what happened. He comes here and cry and say, I subjected him to the, what you call, a polygraph test for the theft of his coffee machine. That is not correct. Maybe for lack of a better word, it is insane of me to shall have done that, commissioners. If you are a victim, then I put you on a polygraph test. That is wrong. He misled the commission. I want to pause there and continue with my statement.
Sorry, General. I'm not sure I follow that. What exactly is not correct?
It is not correct that he was subjected to polygraph examination because of the theft of his own coffee machine that was stolen in that office. It was not only him. The person who initiated everything and made arrangement is Brigadier Nusi. I only signed the call-up instruction. And I believe the commission is in possession of those documents. I don't have my tools of trade since they were taken when I was taken at gunpoint out of my office, my laptop, my gun, my laptop is gone, and then documents that I was supposed to prepare for my disciplinary, I was taken out of my office like somebody, I don't know, for lack of a better word, like a dog. And that thing is still a pain here. And it cost me to lie in hospital for 2 weeks. Now, I'm telling the commission here to show certain implication. I'm not requesting for any mercy, but I want to assist this commission. Now, Commissioner Kumalo, I hope I answered you, Commissioner.
Now the fight is on the record. Sander says, my coffee machine was stolen and I was polygraphed for my own stolen property. Senona says, no, there were 4 thefts: a camera, a state laptop, a laminating machine, and the coffee machine. So the coffee machine is not the whole case. It is the doorway. Because if Sander was polygraphed only because his own coffee machine was stolen, that looks very strange. But if the office had several items disappearing, Senona's explanation changes the angle. Then Senona goes further. He says Sander misled the commission. Careful here. That is not a finding. That is Senona's evidence. But it puts a hard dispute in front of the commission. Now the hearing moves away from coffee. The real issue becomes Sander's movement. Who moved him? Why was he moved? Was it punishment? Was it a temporary placement? Was Senona acting on instruction? Or was this his own call? That is where one word starts doing heavy lifting.
Correct, Commissioners. This is not the suspension, it's the temporary placement.
My apologies. You are quite correct. Yes. I used a wrong term there. If I gave the commissioners an opportunity. Thank you. We had previously looked at this letter. And you indicated that the person acting at the time was Colonel Jacobs, correct? Because it's addressed to the acting provincial commissioner.
Correct, Commissioners.
And you testified this morning that both of you called Warrant Officer Sander into your office, if I understood you correctly, where you engaged him on these issues and that temporary transfer.
I called Colonel Jacobs to come with Warrant Officer Sanders.
Yes.
After I've received the complaint.
Indeed.
Into my office.
Okay.
That correction is important. Senona does not want the word suspension sitting there. He says it was a temporary placement. That is not just language. Suspension sounds disciplinary. Temporary placement sounds administrative. So the record now has to answer this. If it was temporary placement, who ordered it? And where is that instruction?
At paragraph 18, bottom of page 8, you state, no, that's the middle of that paragraph. You received an email from General Lesetja or Major General Suraj Bali. I apologize if I mispronounce. Directing your office to engage with the complaint. Then you further down to the bottom of the page, you state, I later received a further instruction from Major General Suraj Bali to temporarily place the member at another post pending investigation, which instruction I carried out. I do not remember the exact date of the email. I point this out to you because the documents we have just looked at, starting with the complaint itself of 5th of February 2014, in that email chain, I cannot find where Major General Suraj Bali instructed you to place Warrant Officer Sander on temporary place him in another post. I don't have that email. I have a series of all these emails, starting with a complaint instruction to you and progress reports from time to time. But that particular email where General Suraj Bali so instructs you is not to be found. Are you able to explain, perhaps?
I went to head office the day I was suspended to request this information. And then I indicated they must send it to my attorney, all this information. They only sent us the complaint. So what the commission is in possession of, I don't know how the commission got hold of it, but all I'm saying, I was complying with the directive from national office. I cannot fail to comply with the directive from head office.
Okay.
because that might result to a serious misconduct or disregarding instructions of your senior.
So that, if I understand you correctly, the suspension of Warrant Officer Sander was not entirely your decision. You were acting on the instruction of head office to temporarily place him in another post.
Correct. It is not the suspension.
Oh, I
it
do
is the
apologize.
temporary placement pending the outcome of the investigation.
I'll restate that. So that temporary placement was not your decision. You executed an instruction from
Correct.
General Suraj Bali.
Remember, commissioners.
I'm trying
Major-
to understand what you are
Yeah.
saying so I don't misquote you.
I'm clarifying to you,
Please do. Thank you.
Council. Commissioner, at National Office, DPCI, in the Office of the National Head, there is a post called Executive Support at the level of a Major General. The National Head of the DPCI does not sit and write letters and do correspondences and everything. The person holding this post will do those type of correspondences and everything through the directive given by the national head. It's like, I'll give you an example. In my previous office, I can't call it my office now because I'm placed on suspension. I'm having a staff officer. I will tell a staff officer, let's compile a letter to do 1, 2, 3. The staff officer will type the letter, bring it to me, and then I will read it. When I'm happy, I'll sign it. It goes out to wherever it's supposed to be going. So here, I did receive that directive, and I did comply with it.
There is the first real problem. Senona says he was acting on a directive from national office. The commission says the specific instruction is not in the email chain before it. That does not prove the instruction never existed, but it puts pressure on the version because this is not a WhatsApp argument at the BRI. This is a commission. Memory can explain, documents confirm, and if a police officer was moved because of a head office instruction, that instruction matters.
Okay, can I just check? I mean, if you were acting on the instruction from head office, which is General Lesetja, surely the decision to restore or to return General Warrant Officer Sander to Soki, as you say you gave that instruction, could also not be your decision, because first you removed him on the basis of an instruction we have established now. It would have been an instruction from General Lesetja. That's how you placed him somewhere else. The return, it seems to me, that the overturning of that instruction also has to be based on an instruction from head office. And in your evidence earlier, you didn't speak that way. You spoke as it being your decision when certain circumstances happened. You made the decision that he should be returned. Can you just explain that?
Thank you, Commissioner Baloyi. There are issues that necessitate certain actions, as the Commissioner was talking to me. Instruction was that placed him temporarily elsewhere until the finalization of the investigation. But as we were proceeding, the investigations were proceeding, we could see that from where I've seen the last reports, I think, the challenges that we had, whatever was found, and then I took it upon myself. I didn't go back and request that, can I place him back? I took it upon myself to place him back. I didn't request. Maybe I might have contravened the senior's instruction in doing so, but I took it upon myself as the investigation was progressing, because the instruction was pending the outcome of the investigation.
Okay.
Before we leave this, I think it was Brigadier Nusi, General, who said he came to you with a request from Warrant Officer Sander that he should be returned to his previous position. And you did not want him returned to his previous position. You wanted him to go to the Economic Crimes Unit. And he never asked you for reasons why. He just accepted your decision. And I think, to be fair to you, I must put that to you so that you can respond to it, because it obviously contradicts the version you are giving today.
Commissioner, even if you say it contradicts my version, me, I'm telling you the truth. To supplement that, I'm telling you the truth as far as my recollection can. Earlier, I indicated that Colonel Jacobs, I called him to bring Sander. You assisted me with the letter here. Now, I'm saying, I don't recollect Brigadier Nusi coming and telling me that Sander requested to be placed back. Because at some stages, a decision needed to be taken there, and commissioners. So, him saying Sander requested to be transferred back, no. I recall saying to Brigadier Nusi that the member must be taken back to Soki. And then when we talk about Soki, serious organized crime, the provincial commander who is responsible for serious organized crime units, which are 5 in the province, is Brigadier Nusi.
That is the cleanest problem in the hearing. If head office told Senona to move Sander, then who had the power to move him back? Senona says he took it upon himself. He even says he may have contravened the senior instruction. That is a big sentence, because now the issue is not coffee, it is authority. Who gave the order? Who changed the position? And does the chain of command still make sense? This is where Baloyi does not need drama. The question does the work by itself.
Can I say, though, that if what happened is as you describe it, which is there was an investigation around allegations of drugs, that Warrant Officer Sander is involved in the distribution of drugs, and you say, as far as you know, that investigation has not been concluded, as in he wasn't cleared. It would be strange to me that when you say he must come back to Soki, you actually are happy for him to go back to Sanep. It would be very strange to me that you have referred to what you say is a very serious complaint, and on the face of it, of that email, it does look like a serious complaint. And then head office, you say, says to you, remove him pending investigation. That investigation, we see from the last progress report, it does not clear him. It's simply, the only reference it makes to that allegation is we try to get hold of the complainant, and we haven't found the complainant. We have emailed the complainant, and then it then discusses his holding interest in other companies, and that's you recommend he be disciplined for that. Nothing to do with the original complaint. So as per that report, he's not cleared. And your evidence earlier in the day was that investigation, as far as you know, is still continuing. It's strange to me and inconsistent, the inconsistent that you would be happy for him to return to Sane when he's got this serious allegation against him. And my saying it's inconsistent is to lead to the probability that it suggests is that you would have said he should go somewhere else because he's still the subject of investigation. Even if he returns to Soki, you wouldn't be happy for him to go back to Sanep because he's still the subject of investigation. So there is that inconsistency on your version, how you dealt with this. If your version is the correct version, then it's inconsistent in how you dealt with it, that he's not cleared, and then you say, well, he can go back to Sanep. I'm okay with that, especially because you're not acting on instruction. If you were saying head office said I must take him back, then I left it to Nusa where to place him, I would understand. It's your decision to return him, and you say to us, he could have returned to Saneb. I don't understand it.
Now Baloyi presses the second problem. If the complaint was serious, and if Sander had not been cleared, why would Senona be comfortable with him going back? That is not an accusation. It is a logic test. Senona says that, at that stage, it made sense to him. He also points to staff shortages in the DPCI. But the question remains sitting there. If the allegation was serious enough to move him out, what changed enough to let him back? And if that decision came from Senona, then we are back at the same place. Who had the authority? So this is where the record lands. Sander says he was treated like a suspect after his own coffee machine was stolen. Senona says that version leads out the bigger picture. He says there were several thefts, serious allegations, and a temporary placement, not a suspension. But then the commission goes to the harder questions. Where is the head office instruction? If head office moved Sander, who could return him? And if Sander had not been cleared, why was returning him even on the table? A coffee machine started the exchange, but the real issue became chain of command. And in a matter involving police management, internal investigations, and serious allegations, chain of command is not background noise. It is the record. This is the public record, documenting what matters for everyone.